I need that energy.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Golden State Valkyries episode of East Meets West, ladies and gentlemen. And we are covering games 10 and 11. Am I correct? Yes.
That's
Against
correct.
the Seattle Storm in today's game against how did I just watch it and forget? The Dallas Wings in
That's
Page.
right.
So, but first, let's talk about the new signings. I mean, you know their games way more than I do. Caitlin Chen and Chloe Bibby, and
That's right.
yeah, go in. Tell us what we should expect from them.
I mean, they were both available today. Today being against right, like Tuesday, June 17th against the Dallas Wings. Neither of them played. They didn't enter the game. We went with
Yeah,
a 8-player rotation today. But I mean, moving forward, they will have to play, right?
yeah,
Because a number
please.
of our players are at Eurobasket. But I think a lot of Valkyrie fans, these two signings, you're familiar with both players, right? We'll
Mm,
start with Chloe Bibby, right?
yeah, because it was on the preseason
Obviously,
roster.
yeah, I mean, like I said, what I liked about Valkyrie's training camp is that I
Mhm.
really believe everyone had like a fair shot
Shot, yeah,
of making the roster. And when you saw the preseason, you could see it. Because I think at some point, like, like Migna Touré, right, from France, and she's
yeah,
currently competing for the French national team at Eurobasket. So had she made the team, she would have also left anyway.
right.
But I think when she signed late in training camp, or like late before training camp began, people are like, oh, she's just another camp body, they're not going to make it. And the reason why I bring her up is because, no, I mean, like she was right there until the end. I think, like I said, it came down really for the guards. It came down between Touré, Caitlin Chen, who we'll get to in a second,
Yeah,
and Veronica Burton, in my opinion, right? VB ultimately won, well deserved. And then for the front court players, like I said, if the power forwards were also going to be asked to play center, right? Like we're seeing Monique Billings do,
yeah.
like we saw Letitia and Maher do today, right?
Mm,
As we suggested the last episode.
right.
Um, Chloe Bibby, who is more of like a stretch four,
Mm,
right? She plays in Australia in the WNBL. Very accomplished, played her college ball at the University of Maryland. She had a pretty solid preseason. Again, stretch four, small ball five. She and Alyssa Kinane and Kiara Linskins were all really in it. We're all really in it. And then ultimately, again, just the rapport Kiara Linskins has with Julie Von Lowe,
yeah,
and Kiara Linskins is like what, 6'6", 6'7".
yeah.
You wanted some traditional size, but ultimately, like I think they all had a case, and I think contrary to what a lot of fans thought,
Hmm.
the Valkyries coaching staff, Natalie Nakase, her coaching staff, Ohema Nianin, the Valkyries general manager, the front office, they were very open. I think there was a lot of very direct communication, a lot of transparency, right?
Right.
Where no bridges were burned. No bridges were burned, right? And they just said, like, hey, right, like this is kind of the nature of our roster. It's going to be in flux, especially in the middle of the season. So that's what I'm saying, right? Like they built a good rapport where they're like, hey, right, we would like to bring you back when the opportunity will arise, inevitably,
Right.
And sometimes that could change. Like maybe if like an injury had popped up, maybe it kind of motivates, oh, we need to go with a
That's
different
true.
player.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of somewhat motivated maybe going towards aerial powers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But for the most part, Chloe Bibby, she's a pro. She's a pro. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she's played for a number of years overseas. Um,
Mhm.
I'm sure she will get an opportunity to play. Um, and then, you know, save the best for last. I don't want to say save the best for last, but I think what a lot of people are excited about the return of NCAA champion, right?
Mhm.
Caitlin Chen, right? Came back. Obviously, our third round pick from this past draft. Again, I think she had a pretty good training camp. But again, the odds are always against you. You know, uh, anytime you're a third round pick, but also just like it was a deep training camp. It was a deep roster.
Yeah.
Um, but still, uh, I think at some point she will. get some playing time, probably sooner than later. Like by sooner meaning like next game. I would not
Yeah,
be
I hope
surprised.
so.
Yeah, and we'll get into why I think she'll get an opportunity at some minutes. But I mean, I think we all know who Caitlin Chen is and what her game's all about. I mean, she is a point guard. You want to call her a combo guard? Cool, go ahead. Right. But again, just a very cerebral player, very confident, you know, very methodical, reads the defense well, a stabilizing force. Sometimes that term's kind of tossed around, but she really is, right? Like, hey, and that's not just saying like let's slow it down, but like, you know,
Let's get control.
let's
Let's get better
let's
control.
there you go. Thank you. Let's get control,
Yeah,
So like put the fist up and there you go, right?
right.
So yeah.
Because Carla
So
kind of showed some little, you know, you
yes, she
young
did.
flashes today.
Yes, you did. I don't think you saw
and
my
it
timeline. You
and I
didn't see my
was
timeline during the game, but yeah, it was. I kind of have some thoughts about that, which we'll get into. But yeah, so I think this is really good. And again, despite the loss today against Dallas, I think the vibes are
good.
appropriately high.
Hmm.
In whatever what you would call it, Valkyrie Nation. No, I mean Valhalla. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
There we go.
But
Rightfully said.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like it's really going back to what we were talking about in the last several episodes about building a culture, and I
Mhm.
like this, right? Just kind of like it kind of mirrors the way they're playing, like the system that Natalie Lacoste has implemented, right? Very read and react, but everybody's essentially on the same page for the most
Right.
part, right? And that's what I like about here, right? About the return of LA, Caitlin Chen, Chloe Bibby, right? It's like they totally understood the plan. That's not to prevent it. If they wanted to take an opportunity elsewhere, they could have. And yet,
Right.
look at that, right?
They probably were just waiting, really, because I think like what you're saying, like it was transparent and they were communicating. I think they were like all the players that they had were kind of made like they really did get on the same page. You know what I mean? So, and because those players specifically fit the system, you know what I mean? So they have
Correct.
certain things that they can add to the system that I'm sure Natalie and her staff seen like, okay, well, this player, that player, because it just seemed like the whole process, top to bottom, from the expansion draft to now, was actually well thought out. You know what I mean? Instead of, oh, we're a new team, well, you, and y'all come on, and oh, y'all don't want to come. You know what I mean? It was like they were like literally handpicking the players that they wanted and wanted to build their system. You know what I mean? As
Yeah.
opposed to like we talked about in the last episode, instead of building around a player, you built around what the coach will have, like what the coach wants on the floor. And like
Yeah.
even today, I was listening to like XM Radio, of course, and like even Doc Rivers talked about that, like about the Tom Thibodeau stuff, but it just was about certain teams having certain coaches and with the players going to make upwards of 50, 60, 70 million, or who are the organizations going to listen to, the player or the coach. And he said it should always be the coach. You know what I mean? Because without the coach, you can't get nothing
Mhm.
done on the floor. Like fitting is more important than your name. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I love, just from the beginning what GSV was doing, and that's why I was kind of high on him. Like everywhere I've recorded, I'm like, yeah, y'all better watch out for the Valkyries. Like, okay, y'all thinking just expansion team, and it got you thinking small. Like, nah, this team is like, what were they in some of the power rankings? Like seventh and eighth, and somebody might have even had them sixth, which I think that's what they were in the standings before today. But
Yeah.
yeah, like they look like they will make the playoffs.
Oh, audio. Audio. See that? Look at that.
Technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen, but yeah, I think that they'll be fighting for somewhere between a sixth and eighth seed. Excuse my microphone. It's time to get a new one.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah,
I totally agree. I totally agree. And we'll see. We'll see. I think a lot of what you just said kind of reflected in these last two games.
yeah,
So let's just quickly dive into it. A little quick recap. Maybe kind of like some of the macro takeaways, as always, right?
yeah.
Expansion team. It's a lot more macro takeaways than micro. However, I'm kind of getting a little annoyed on some of the micro observations.
Right. Well, from the Seattle game, I would just say I was impressed with how they like limited NECA. You know what I mean? And that was Timmy's last game for now, wasn't it?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I do notice something like a difference between like the last couple games and like today's game. And it's got to do all with, well, a lot to do with Timmy. You know what I mean? It's of course having that defense that you want in the paint. And just the rebound. It seemed like their games are dictated by rebounds. It seems like, you know what I mean, outside of turnovers, but it seems like a lot of it is dictated by rebounds. And then, the zone won't work for everyone. Like you can probably pull that off against Seattle and force them to shoot. They don't have Jewel Lloyd over there like that just to go on a heater. But I just like what they did. You know what I mean? Like they looked really good. Timmy really showed up in that game. Kayla's been going crazy, and shout out to Kayla, WNBA Player of the Week for the West.
That's right.
She did her thing. You know what I mean? Didn't she average a double double? Wasn't it 20 and I want to say 10, was it? Or
I mean,
20
she
and
averaged double double. Yeah.
9? Yeah,
Whatever. Yeah.
so that's amazing, especially for people who've been overlooking her. You know what I mean? Since she came into the league, like, she was on Dallas, and they were like, and then she went to New York, and then she ended up getting shoved down the bench, and now we get to see her in a prominent role. She's actually doing some things, and she showed me some things today too. And I've been loving her for the longest because she's a hustler. Like she gets out there, she gets after ball, she plays defense. Pretty much almost everywhere it seems like she can play defense. So yeah, and I just love what I seen for them against Seattle. How you feel?
Nice. Nice. I mean, I largely agree with what you said. However, like, I'm going to be a little bit more staunchy about the zone. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
you can
Oh, I
crack
was
it
gonna get
as
into the
easily.
zone for
No, 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 no.
today's
You're like,
game.
oh, blah, 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 blah. I mean, you need the fucking all-star team. And if you're really going to like crack that zone possession to
Yeah.
possession, or at least to the point where you can discourage the Valkyries from just abandoning it completely. Which
Right.
again, to be fair, I don't know, dude. Like, I think this is, I still, like, I don't know. I take it negatively because I think I think it's being a little bit embellished
Yeah.
as to the magnitude of how much they're using it.
It
Yes, are
is.
they using it more than other teams? Sure. But like, I don't know. I think it suits them, especially with their personnel.
Right.
And frankly, even if they did get a true, like, say, like a
Wing
traditional rim
defender.
protector.
Or yeah.
No, I think they have several wings. I mean, could they upgrade? Sure. But they don't really have like a traditional rim protector.
Right.
I don't think they would change their defensive scheme even if they did. A traditional rim protector would only amplify what they're
Yeah.
doing.
For
Again,
real.
you talk about limiting NECA. NECA is a smart player. This
Hmm.
isn't like they just stopped her. They held her to 6 field goal attempts total.
Yeah, total. Six
You talk
points,
about like,
six field
oh, go
goals.
ahead, go buck wild, shoot threes.
Hmm.
They attempted 26. The Valkyries
Hmm.
only attempted 18. The math should have been in their favor. You could
Right.
say, oh, come on, Conrad, they're not good shooters. No. Again, the zone traps. Look at it. Ezzy
Yeah.
had only one direction to pass the ball to. Otherwise, it's getting stripped, it's a turnover, or she's throwing it out of
Hmm.
bounds. Right.
Right.
So there you go. It's always the weak side wing, right? The far wing, not even the weak
Hmm.
side corner, right? There's never an opportunity in the short corner. That happened to Ezzy, that happened to NECA, that
Hmm.
happened to Dominique. You know,
Hmm.
the only success they had, which is what, again, it's like, okay,
Point of attack.
you being Skylar Diggins, you beat us
Hmm.
on your own, right?
Yep.
And they basically forced her to go, like, basically they forced Seattle to go ISO, right? It was either like
Hmm.
Skylar Diggins ISO, Erica Wheeler ISO, right? To the point where they had to eventually abandon everything, and they brought Alicia Clark in. They had that little late rally, you
Yeah.
know. But you're right. You're right. Other teams do have better shooters.
Yeah. Like
I
today.
don't know.
Today.
I mean, let's go turn back the clock again. Will Jackie Young and Chelsea Gray shoot that poorly again? I don't know. Maybe not. But watch the looks again. Watch the looks again. You say, oh, Conrad, that's an open shot. It's an open shot, but look at the manner. Look at when they receive the ball and look at the
Hmm.
manner in which they catch it. Never in their shooting pocket late in the shot clock.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
the point of a zone trap. Which is
Right.
why when I hear people say that, it's like a lazy thing. Like, are you watching the game? Did you just look at the box score? Did you listen to the broadcast? Which, by the
Right.
way, personally, I think the Valkyries home broadcast is not particularly good. I don't.
Oh.
Okay. Oh no, no,
Uh-oh.
no, no, no. I don't
Uh-oh.
know which is worse. I don't care, man. Like they're not my friends, right? Like, sorry if this is like a rant show now, but I just watched a
Yeah.
game where like they constantly do this. Like the best broadcast, and maybe this will come in time. They know, right? That like when there is a series of momentum, like swinging plays, let the audience provide the color commentary. Do not talk over the audience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then other things too, like hello, when the referee is saying what the challenge is, it behooves you to be quiet and let the refs,
Right.
announce it. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I don't know, pet peeve, pet peeve. But
Understandable.
yeah, but really, we've been saying it since like preseason.
Mhm.
Uh, Jesus, man, like this is like I don't know, like a career year doesn't even describe what Temi is experiencing here.
Yeah.
Because like I love it. I love it. And again, as we're gonna get it to today with regards to Monique Billings, right? Like
Mhm.
again, it's a confluence of things. Um actually, you know what? Since you brought up Kayla Thornton,
Mhm.
um, post game, the two of them did their post game presser together. This is against after the
Mhm.
Seattle game, right?
Okay.
It's usually a couple players that do it together.
Yeah.
Like two or three
I
players.
thought you
Right?
were talking about today.
Oh no, I haven't actually watched today's post game pressers
Yeah,
yet.
I
I
was about
will.
to say you seen it already.
Oh no, but
Okay.
um, Kayla and Temi, like KT and Temi said something like kind of like really caught my attention.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
They were like, they basically like KT explicitly said like, well, I mean, we have a team
Of
full
six
of
players.
6 players, right? Like 6
Mhm.
players. Like we've all basically been like the first or second player off the bench, right? And it's something about like that self-awareness, which is why I think for the most part this team is being successful, right? I mean,
Right.
obviously they lost today, but I mean again, right? At least at the very least compared to what you would expect of a typical expansion team. Why do they seem to be a lot more cohesive? Why do they seem to really be functioning as a singular unit as opposed to like just kind of like a hodgepodge, right,
Right.
of like mismatched parts. And I don't know, like you could make an argument that it's kind of like a common theme amongst all of them, like hey, we want to prove that we're more than what we've been throughout our careers, right? It can kind of be like a galvanizing effect.
Right.
But at the same time though, I think like okay, I know again we're gonna get ahead of ourselves, but like you look at some of the other teams around the league,
Mhm.
right? And I think like contracts are a tricky thing. I know I might be going off on a tangent here, but trust me,
No,
this
no, go
will
for it.
make sense,
Go for
right?
it.
Like if you get a max contract in the WNBA, I get it, right? You more often than not, you're a really good player, But I mean, like Kelsey Plum and say like I'm not trying to throw shade. Like Kelsey Plum, only because I've looked at contracts lately. Kelsey
Okay.
Plum and like Maisha Hines Allen make the
Yeah.
same amount of money. Would you say that they're the same caliber of player?
I
No,
mean,
right?
no, no,
No, just
no,
simply no,
no.
right? And what I'm trying to say is like I think sometimes when a player is fortunate enough to receive that big pay up like a raise, right?
Yeah.
It's natural to assume that like you've ascended up the hierarchy, the pecking order of
Right.
players. But I don't think that's always the case. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
just because like you're getting paid the second or third most money on the team doesn't mean you're like the second or third best player or the second or third option.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that's why sometimes there's like this disconnect amongst other teams, especially with veteran players being like, hey, right? Like I am this high price veteran, like free agent, right? Why am I not having a bigger role? Why do I not get more touches?
Right.
Whereas if you're a team full of players who have really only experienced like being a role player, right?
Right.
Complementary player. I think it's easier for them to both accept and understand the role that's being asked of them. And I
That's a
think
good
that's
point.
why the Valkyries are having a lot more, like, they're adjusting to this a lot easier than some of these other teams across the league,
Right.
right? I think,
Hmm.
a lot of the teams that spent big money in free agency this past summer, right, hoping to show the rest of the league and all these soon-to-be free agents that this is a destination franchise. This is where you should be, right? They're
Right.
not proving it. I don't need to say names. I think you know which teams I'm referring to. And I think whoever's watching this, you know what
Yeah.
teams I'm referring to. That's
Right.
the irony of the Valkyries. Joe Lakeup, the owner, he's an arrogant dude, right? I love the guy because he backs up his words. He's
Right.
like, dude, we've already raked in more than $55 million. You
Right.
know, we're annihilating the league, right? In
Exactly.
terms of earnings, right? So he said, like, I know this might sound, kind of like arrogant or boastful, but he goes like, if I were a free agent, I'd want to play here. Big market, we sell out every crowd, right? We got the best training, like best facilities, got a great coaching staff,
Hmm.
you know, et cetera, et cetera. And he's wrong. Is he wrong? Is he
No.
exaggerating about that? That's
No.
what I'm saying. This is where, like, in terms of, you're saying going back all the way to the expansion draft, and even though the initial reaction that fans had, it's like, what are the Valkyries doing? Does this make sense?
Hmm.
Like, as you said, there was a plan of how to truly establish a culture. I don't know how I got here, but we're here now. No, but this is what it'd be one of my points anyway.
Right.
Like, yeah, I mean, like, I think what is happening and what they've already done is very invaluable, because, as I've said before, and I've said it on this pod, other pods, like, it's easy to talk about changing or creating a culture,
Right.
I don't know, creating and changing both can be equally difficult, you know.
Right.
But my point is, it's another thing to actually do it. And
Right.
now all those, like, free agents, all those stars that may want, I don't know. You look at those other teams that are kind of failing at their stated goal, and you look at the Valkyries, like, if the
Yeah.
money's truly equal,
Right.
that's the thing too about the Valkyries.
Mhm.
The only thing stopping Joe Lakeup from spending money is the salary cap.
Pretty much. Because he
But
he's
as a lot
probably
of
got a
people,
whole
I mean,
20 suitcases sitting over there.
I am not suggesting that the Warriors ever circumvented the cap. And I said Warriors explicitly because, right, it's the brother
Yeah.
franchise,
Hmm.
right? All
And
I'm
because of
saying
their
is, for
evaluation.
example, yeah, I'm just saying, for example, several years ago, Andre Iguodala, right? He could have gone to any franchise, right? He wanted to, any team. And he chose to go to
Hmm.
the Warriors because he understood that there were so many opportunities for life after basketball in the Bay
Hmm.
Area. You know, I'm
Yeah.
just saying
I mean,
those same opportunities are extended to all these ladies.
I
So I
mean,
mean,
you could sell them on that for real.
so I don't know how that became. Well, that was one of my takeaways from Seattle. It really truly was. It's like, whoa, right? Like, this is becoming. They really can sell themselves as a destination franchise. Now, going back to the court, the zone's working. Temi, VB. I mean, again, her offense will be up and down,
Yeah.
but,
For
like,
now. For now.
the defense is pretty stellar.
Yeah.
I hope she gets consideration for all defensive team. I really do. Like, I'm not going to be, like, so much of a homer to say, like, oh, she has to be, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I'd like
Yeah.
to think so. Point of attack, because you're always, like, there. You're, like, always in like.
Exactly.
But and I guess this will be our transition, because from game to game, but right,
Yeah.
our French star in the making, right? Our
Which
hooper.
one?
Well, no, right? Janelle did not play against Seattle.
Oh, okay.
So Carla Late.
Carla Lake. Yep.
Carla Late. This she'll be the transition here because, like we said, a true rookie, 20 years old, 21 years old, I believe.
Hmm. Yep.
Um, you know, if she has an opportunity to play extended minutes, You will see her highs, you will see her lows. Sometimes
Right.
within each game, and sometimes from
Yeah.
game to game, sometimes within from quarter to quarter. You
Half
know,
to half, for real.
yeah.
Yeah.
Overall in Seattle, when all said and done, she was fantastic.
Yeah.
Right? We've said it before. I feel like we're just a broken record. Attack the cup. Attack the
Mhm.
cup. I think, as teams are beginning to do more comprehensive scouting reports on the Valkyries, they're seeing that she's not quite comfortable yet with her 3-pointer, which
Yeah.
is, again, I've said, I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried. She
Yeah.
has a large body of work to suggest at least catch and shoot. She should be better, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
And will be.
But
She will
I
be
mean,
for
yeah,
sure.
against Seattle, she had the highest plus minus, right? 6-point victory. She was plus 15, 14 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. I'm sorry, 14 points, 3 assists, 4 turnovers. Okay, read that wrong. You know, but again,
Ratio.
14 points on 6 of 10 shooting didn't make a
Mhm.
single 3-pointer, right?
Yeah.
So what are the two things she does well? Well, actually, they're one and the same, really. Rim pressure. She puts
Mhm.
rim pressure, and again, right? One, the Valkyries don't really have many players who could do that,
Right.
but specifically to be able to do it from the backcourt, it's huge,
Yeah.
huge, right?
Because she
You
pulls all the
know,
defense with her.
yeah. Um, I mean, her rim frequency is it's pretty insane. You know,
Hmm.
like as
Yeah.
for at least for rookies, in terms of rim frequency, right? The amount of time she actually gets to the rim relative to her possessions,
Yeah.
her
It's
touches,
a
her field
lot.
goal attempts,
It's a
right?
lot.
It's
Yeah.
elite. It's
Yeah.
elite. You know, like okay, I'll give a shout out, right? Well, friend of our show via social media, all right,
Mm.
Hunter Cruz. He dropped that stat. I mean, her rim frequency, rookie rim frequency, right,
Mm.
is on par with Kennedy Carter's rim frequency, from when Kennedy was a rookie, which was like right?
Yeah.
Like in the high 60s, right?
Yeah.
So that is something definitely, right? Which is why, like, dude, I will put up with all of her like growing pains. And again, she's young. She's
Yeah.
young. But
Yeah.
again, see, this is the thing, especially in victory, it'll mask those mistakes. Because now let's switch over to Carla Late coming into this Dallas game.
Yeah.
If people were wondering who I was tweeting about during the game, right? Because I didn't put a name.
I think I did
It
see
was
some of the
yeah,
tweets
it
about the
was it was
turnovers.
mostly it was yes. It was mostly
Okay.
directed at Carla Late,
Okay.
which is like you know me. I am very open-minded about turnovers, right? Like I said, like not all turnovers are the same. Like if I, like I'm trying like MJ, I'm trying to lob you the ball and like it was just a little bit mistimed, so it ends up
Right.
sailing out of bounds, right? Or like we executed everything well, like the screen, you cut, and yeah, like whoops, it's just off the tip of your fingers or something like that. Could it
Right.
have been better? Sure, but like it's a turnover, it's a dead ball turnover, and to me, like I chalk those up. It's the same as like I airballed or I
Right.
bricked, you know.
Pretty much.
If it's a
Yeah.
live ball turnover, right?
Yeah.
Like, ugh, okay, fine. But for the most part, like I can accept that. But what really irritates me, like as a coach, or even if I
Oh.
were your teammate,
Hmm.
like if you make the same type of turnover over and over again, and you claim, like, all right, like, okay, that's what I said in my tweet. You make the same type of turnover on consecutive possessions. Let's take a timeout. Let's talk about it. All right. What's
Right.
what's really gonna fucking piss me off
Uh-oh.
if out of a timeout you make the exact same turnover, like the
Again.
exact same.
Hmm.
It's like a replay.
Right.
Now I'm livid. Now
Right.
I'm taking you out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now again, I had to like once I finally calmed down because okay, the reason why I said that is like she had I believe 4 turnovers tonight, 4 turnovers in the last game, and the
Yeah.
turnovers were exactly the same, right?
Hmm.
If they are showing double, or actually, no, specifically, if they're blitzing her,
Hmm.
Carla, like, she does not handle the blitz well. At least she has not yet,
Not
right?
yet.
And
Yeah.
she always tries to do, like, kind of like an overhead handed lob, right?
Hmm.
But it's like it's a floater, it's like
So
a
you
lame
so
duck.
it's like a yeah.
It's just hanging in
So
the
it's
air.
like a loose
So
ball basically. It's like a
yeah,
50-50 ball at that point.
yeah, you know, it's like
Yeah.
whoo. It's like you just kind of like lob. Like, it's like like
He said,
like
"Ooh."
if you're playing like tennis, right? And
Yeah.
right, like
Yeah.
you volley it, right? Like
Yeah.
that's what it's like. It's just hanging in the air. So of course, there's a high chance it's going to get picked off, and it did. There were like literally 3 of her turnovers today were the exact same play, and I
Mhm.
believe 3 against Seattle too, right? Where like Skylar picked her off once, right? I'm pretty sure like NECA got her twice, you know. Again, same thing here, right? I think Dejanay got her. Paige definitely picked off one.
Mhm.
Like when I calm down, I have to think, okay, all right, like she's young. This is only like her second start. She's only gradually getting more minutes.
Mhm.
And if I have to be like, again, I want to be fair to her too. Like she is still learning English.
Right.
That could definitely be a factor, right? Like Janelle's not here.
Right.
Julie's not here because Julie's multilingual, right? She could
Okay.
she could speak, right, like Belgium. She could speak French. She could speak Italian, right? I think actually that goes a long way,
Yeah.
with helping Carla's
And communicating.
communicating, right?
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, okay, I'm gonna calm down now. But if this like becomes a recurring problem, like it's something that really because it's something that really, really needs to be addressed.
Yeah,
Because
because
it's
it's
not like I'm
costing
saying,
games.
yeah, again, development should be a priority, but you still
Mhm.
have to be able to prove that you are deserving of these developmental reps. Okay, I've made a mistake, but I have earned, right, some grace to be able to correct my mistakes. But
Right.
if you're just making the same mistake over and over and over again, like I don't know, right? Like because you're not helping yourself, you're not helping the team, you
Right.
know? This is why again, when like friends say like about especially like rebuilding teams or expansion teams, oh, just forget it. Just cut all the veterans and let the rookies play like 40 minutes a game.
No,
Like
that'll be ugly.
it'll be ugly, but again, you start to develop bad habits.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And to be fair, Julie makes a lot of that same mistake too. Like the exact same
Again.
turnover. Like the exact like I don't
So they
know.
one and the same.
Like I don't even like to use this excuse that like, oh, well, this is the WNBA, right? Like we're
Right.
more physical and we're bigger and longer. Are you kidding me? Have you seen the competition that Carla had against France? Maybe they're not as athletic, but the manner in which she's picked off has nothing to do with athleticism.
Right.
Okay. It's just
Yeah.
hanging in the bear, all like in the air. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
It's like,
It's like,
ooh,
here, come get it.
yeah. So that is something because I want her, to really be able to take. I don't know if she'll be a starting point guard when everyone comes back, but moving forward, like again, the big picture, like she should earn these minutes and this job. Like I don't want it spoon fed to her,
Right.
Janelle, anyone, just because you're a high draft pick or saying
Yeah.
it's the same thing. I'm kind of like with the whole high priced free agents. Like okay, like at a certain point, like if you're making the exact same mistakes, like I don't know, your contract status can only protect you so much,
Right.
assuming you're trying to win, you know. So, but that was a thing. Other observations from tonight? I have a few
Mm.
more, but
Okay, well, I mean, my only I mean, that's actually one of my observations is I think she'll be better. I'm not sure if it'll happen this season, but next season for sure, she, gets in the weight room, gets a little bit more stronger. It'll come easier for her, at least going downhill. You know what I mean, and going to the cup. Um, I like what I seen from Kayla and Monique, but sometimes they need a break. You know what I mean? Like it can't just keep playing directly through them the whole game. You know what I mean? We didn't see much from Kay Martin because she only played like what was it 8 minutes? I seen
yeah,
something like
about
that.
a little under 8 minutes. Yeah,
Yeah, and I just that's why I thought Caitlyn might have Caitlin Chen, that is, might have came in and had a few minutes. You know what I mean? I was thinking she might have just came and hit the ground running, but they didn't go about it that way. But I mean, they still were in position to win. You know what I mean? And you going on about Carla, like she kind of threw the game a little bit. You know what I mean? That
I
and then
mean,
the rebounding. I would say the
yeah.
rebounding, and then like you mentioned the zone, and then you're going against like Paige, who has a midi that can kill it. She has a three that could kill it. Arike is explosive and can shoot from distance too. So that's really what it was. It was them being a threat from distance that kind of like made it where the zone became kind of at moments ineffective. You know what I mean? It was like you play right into their hand. Like, oh, you're gonna give them a little bit more room than they need. Even though I'm not mad at the defense that they put out against Dallas. You know what I mean? But against Paige and Enrique, I'm that's kind of tough, especially the
So
shots Paige was making all game because of the zone. Like it was almost like unless if she went past the elbows, then they was getting in her face. But outside of that, she was just floater here, elbow midi here. You know what I mean? Left wing here. It's just like you got to play her a little bit closer. And then Enrique too. Like I think she got off to a slow start, but she ended up getting going. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So you have to just make sure that you keep that way. Like don't let you can let one person like Skylar went off in Seattle, but you can't let it be two. You can't let it be two players because they
yeah,
both I think they both put up like 18 shots or something if I'm not mistaken from what I looked at. So yeah, you've got to limit one of the two, and I don't think they
they
did
did.
that effectively today.
Enrique ended up having 19.
19.
19 on 19, Page 20 on 9 of 18. You
Okay.
know, Page was
She was making
I
some
didn't even like really
surgical.
it didn't even really like phase me that like Page went 0 of 5 from 3.
Yeah, it
Like
didn't
cuz
it
just
didn't phase
do
me either.
do you,
Yeah.
right? Slice
It's
and dice the
Paige.
Valkyries D in the mid zone, right? In the mid range, right?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yes. She
Go. Attack the
was. And
pinch.
she was.
You know, so before this game, I was late tweeting it out cuz I had like stuff to do, but I kind of thought to myself like Liu definitely helped their cause, obviously, right?
Yeah.
They out rebounded us, I believe, what 36 to 20 something,
Yeah.
right?
I want to say
No, oh man,
20,
final score, yeah, the final was they out rebounded us 39 to
36.
28,
Yeah.
and they had 13 offensive rebounds,
Yes.
right?
And you guys
So
had five,
obviously,
I
I
want to say.
figured their rebounding could potentially improve because we just don't have
We seen it.
anyone like to
Yeah.
match up with that size.
Right.
But going into this one, I felt like I won't say worried, but I felt like this could potentially be a game where Temi's absence would be really felt, specifically on the boards.
Right.
Because even though Temi's like what 6, well, no, she's like what 6'5". Something like that.
Yeah.
I
She's
mean,
tall.
point being is like, yeah, you could be taller than her, but like she holds her own, right? Like she'll
Yeah.
box you out, right? She will get hers. And I wondered if it wasn't today moving forward, would a team break from what they do? If like they're trying to get a win,
Right.
like could you just force it into a crowd? Like force the ball into a crowd, even if it's in a crowd, with the intention of going after like attacking the offensive glass. So what I'm saying is like would a team just intentionally just try to jam it into the paint even if like they're not even remotely open,
Right.
only because they know they have a better shot of getting the offensive board. And that is
Hmm.
exactly what the Dallas Wings did today. Because this is
Yeah, I
not
didn't
their
think about it
this
that way.
tonight they completely broke away from their motion offense. Because I thought to myself like, if
Yeah.
I'm Chris Koklanis, what would I do? Right? I got Lee, so I have tall enough players like Dijonay, MHA, right?
Hmm.
I can just force, right? Like I can drop it. Basically, I can
Hmm.
do what Carla Late has failed to do. I can basically lob it into the restricted circle or into like the deep post. Let Lee do her thing, and if I don't get it, I have big bodies. I got MHA, Dijonay, Paige is like taller than all
Hmm.
of our guards, right? We're just gonna play volleyball on the glass and try to win the possession battle. That's what they did.
Yeah.
That I think is something moving forward that other teams especially right now the teams are shorthanded. Like if we play, like when we play Vegas again,
Yeah.
like they're gonna have to. I think that's one way right now to beat this version of the Valkyries because they don't have the size. They don't have and that. No offense, like Monique Billings did great, but at a
Yeah.
certain point, like that's the thing. You saw it. She had hands on the ball, but then you have like a swarm of players, right? Like 6'2" plus players around her that
Right.
are all basically pushing out all of our guards and wings,
Hmm.
So that I think moving forward, it'll be interesting to see how they counter. I mean, Letitia was fantastic, but over the course of
She
a
was.
game, it definitely wore on the Valkyries, right? I mean, because you could tell there were times where they just threw it up. They just threw it up because they knew, like, whether it was like Nalissa Smith, someone was in the vicinity who had an opportunity to fight for it.
Right.
That's it. You saw it in that final sequence to end like the game. When like, okay, maybe, we're down like 6 points. We get a rebound and see what we can do with like 40 seconds, and
Yeah.
boom, the game was over simply on offensive rebounds.
Off. Yeah.
By the time they secured the
Especially in the
ball,
fourth.
yeah,
Especially in the fourth. Like
yeah.
to close the game, it was like they closed the game with second chance opportunities.
So I won't put that. That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, I know I was very critical of Carla, but I'm not going to put it all on her.
Yeah.
But
It's
again,
just
like
lack of personnel.
it is,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm saying. I want to see how they adjust.
Yeah.
Like, can they? Like, can they come up with an interesting solution? I mean, obviously, right? More effort, more can. I mean, yeah, right. Just crash the glass, right? Just try to
Yeah.
like abandon leaking out for like early, transition points or something like that.
Right.
But it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. I want to see if like Chloe Bibby, obviously anyone who's like taller than 6'3", we kind of need you.
Right.
you know?
Like right now.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. It'll definitely be interesting. But dude, Monique Billings made 2 threes today, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you see? No, whatever. I cussed already so many times today. No fucking hesitation, man.
Yeah.
Just like let that thing fly.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
She's arriving, bro. Like on another level. Like because I've been high on Monique for a while, and I love what her and Kayla are doing right now.
Pick who you think is one of the best stretch bigs in the league.
Lana Smith.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. No, because I'm really high on her. And I know she's going to be,
Okay.
every team is going to like go after her in free agency.
They're
going to throw her big money.
Yeah.
They're going to throw her big money, right? Whatever. All I'm saying is I'm not suggesting replacing Monique Billings. I love Monique Billings, but she's been fantastic both on and off the court. If, I would like to see her come back. I would like to see a lot of these players come back, but obviously,
to fit
management, coaching staff, they want to kind of increase like the talent. So some of that, like not everyone's going to be coming back. All I'm saying is just look at the looks. Those were designed looks, right?
For 3.
That sprung her open wide open in the corner twice, right?
Yep. And she swished them.
Think of that as like Alana Smith.
That's a problem.
You see what I'm saying? Like, just again, that's
Leonie
why
Fevich.
you have to keep looking. Look at the type of looks. Don't even like if they go in, great. I'm just saying, look at the shot quality, the shot profile that the Valkyries are creating. Now, if you had different personnel,
then it's a problem.
right? And and then final thought, because we'll keep this short. I mean, like, it was good to see Tip Hayes come back.
Yeah, definitely.
And
with the mask on.
Zorro. Dude, I don't know, man. Like because of the Valkyries home broadcast, right? We got like that 5-minute history lesson of how Tip wore a mask in college.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're not calling the game, man.
Yeah.
But no, it was interesting because if you look now, obviously this was her first game back, after a little bit of an absence. So she came off the bench.
Yeah.
Now,
Uh-oh.
Caitlyn, or no, say, Carla
Mhm.
is a point guard.
Right.
VB has been our point guard. So we're
Yeah.
starting like a 2 point guard look right now, right?
Right.
While like Janelle and all of them are
Are
away.
gone. Yeah.
What's interesting is that they actually still aligned Carla and VB's minutes quite a bit tonight, even once they started substituting,
Right.
where that made Tip essentially a backup point guard.
Hmm.
I want to see if that continues for the time being, right? Because part of what I felt like that happened was, I think, one, um, the Wings definitely attacked Carla on defense. And again, I don't want to blame
Yes,
her. I'm just saying they did. They
they
did.
did.
They did. Let's be fair. So she'll have to learn.
Clearly.
But I think that's partly why Natalie tried to align as many of Carla's minutes, right? That's why she tried to align Carla and VB's minutes together.
Yeah.
Is that hopefully like on the switch, fine. Now VB's
Right.
back onto the point of attack.
Right. So
Um,
it's not an albatross.
yeah, yeah. But I want to see like if that continues.
Mhm.
Because it's like, I don't know. I think it's good, but at the same time, like, like, I think that's more of a reason than potentially why. Not that like Tip had a good game,
Yeah.
but obviously, as we saw later in the game when we were playing from behind, right? What is she best at? Getting downhill again, right? Who can actually put pressure on the rim? Tip can. Now she does it in a different manner. It is
Right.
well documented. She typically ends up somewhere on the ground,
You're
you
right.
know, but you know, I'm wondering though if that is more of a reason to incorporate Caitlyn Chen. See, that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. That's what I want to kind of get at, because
Yeah.
I think earlier in the season, same thing. Tip was essentially like playing point guard,
To
especially
start.
when,
Yeah.
well, not necessarily to start. VB started, she started at the, then, and then Tip was at the two, starting at the
Yeah.
two. What I'm saying is she essentially was like the second unit point guard, right?
Yeah.
At times, especially when Carla didn't have it going. Now, obviously, they're going to give Carla her minutes,
Yeah.
but I want to see if incorporating Caitlyn Chen can actually help
Make it so Tip.
extend like Carla's. Like I think they could potentially help each other in the sense, right? If you have Caitlyn Chen playing the one next to Tip at the two, then
Yeah.
that allows basically Carla and VB to continue playing together in as long of stretches as possible. Because
Right.
she definitely needs, right, VB flanking her, especially on the defensive end, you
Right.
know. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm very curious, but I told you, man, center LA is a center. I told you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you did say that. And
No, I
I
mean
was
that's the
throwing it
thing
weird,
too.
like at the three or something like that.
I
We're
mean, I know it's kind of
Janelle,
funny.
where Janelle goes.
Yeah, right. I mean, like I
Yeah.
know Monique Billings is not. I mean, at this point, you ask her, dude. She's shooting the three. Like
Yeah.
you ask her, she's a stretch four now, man, or
Right.
stretch
Right.
five.
Yeah.
But that's the
At
thing,
this
right?
point,
If she is comfortable on the perimeter, if Temi, when she's back, comfortable on the perimeter,
which she is.
comfortable, then there's no
Yeah.
reason why LA can't be right. You go 4 out, 1 in. There's no reason why LA can't be the one in.
Right.
And that's it. Like this
That'd be
is
crazy.
something you didn't see with her in Atlanta. Like I
Right.
like that she's not selfish,
With either
nor is
one of
she.
them, really.
Yeah, she's not selfish, nor is she lazy. But I like that her focus is really always getting downhill. Like I don't want you flaring to the perimeter. No,
Right.
no.
Right.
And I like that Natalie Nakase. She was even asked that. That Natalie. They asked her like,
Mhm.
"Are you going to have like the new like like the cavalry, right? Chloe, Caitlyn, LA, Ariel Powers, are you going to ask him to do the things that Janelle and Chichelia Zendolcini, et cetera, that they all did? And she goes, no, I'm
Right.
going to ask them to do what they do well, right?
Right.
And the
Yeah.
system is going to help them get those looks. And it has been so far. So I
Yeah.
want to see if that continues.
I think it will. I think it
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
Because if she put it that way, then that means she's just gonna play to their strengths. Basically, she's gonna put them in positions on the floor that plays to their strengths.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah,
And
I can
that's
see it.
why it was a slight adjustment. Obviously, it's easier to make the adjustment because she had it going, right? I mean, she had
Yeah.
like a very, very efficient 14 points tonight. But
Hmm.
my point is they caught on to what the Wings were doing, especially late in the game, right? Which
Yeah.
is why this is one time where like even I've not been a fan of like MHA like initiating,
Hmm.
but I understood why they're doing it, right? Because they're starting their sets like within like from inside the mid post, right? They're
Hmm.
basically they are purposely sucking in everyone towards the basket or
Yep.
towards like the rim.
Yep. So they could
And
kick to
this
the
is why I
corners and
like that they
outside.
basically had LA out there at the end because they're like, well, we're gonna see not necessarily beat you at your own game,
Yeah.
but we're gonna play your game and try to one up you. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they're like, okay, you basically want to try to like who can win the offensive glass, then we're gonna put LA out there. We're gonna do it too, you know.
Right.
So it'll be interesting, right? Again, you discover something even in defeat.
That's I mean, and that's true.
Yeah.
And then I guess let's give some credit to Atlanta for maybe potentially having them where they were like the Pau Gasol D'Antoni type of thing, where he started making Pau Gasol shoot threes. You know what I mean? And then the next
Yeah,
few
that's
years
true.
afterwards, like yeah, because they had Monique too for a second, and
Yeah.
you know she was over there, and then Letitia too. So maybe it's already been set in stone, and you know, or they just put them on that level. Like you need to stretch the floor. So they've probably been trying to add that to their game because this isn't something that just happened overnight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they
And
probably already have it a part of their games now where they're not afraid. Like how you're saying, like Monique came up and just no hesitation. You know what I mean? Just bow,
yeah. And
straight money from the corner.
actually, since we're bringing this up again,
Yeah,
Monique, there's no way, like, even when everybody comes back, right?
yeah,
Even when Team Eurobasket comes back,
yeah.
right? When the United Nations return,
Right,
okay?
basically.
Like, she's still in the rotation.
Yeah. Oh
You know
hell
what I'm
yeah.
saying? Right. But
Yeah.
there is a possibility, right? At least from the reports that we're seeing, right? That when the Eurobasket players come back, they may be bringing someone with them, being Ileana
Oh, just
Repair,
oh okay.
right?
I was just about to say Justy.
No. She'll come next year. She'll come
Okay.
next year. But point being, though, is man, in terms of who are some of the best stretch
Damn.
fives in the world,
Yeah,
well,
she's
she's one, and she is technically well, she's not technically, she is under contract with the Valkyrie. It's just a matter of when
yeah.
she starts resuming playing under that contract. So,
So wo- that means pretty much everybody that they have is damn near gonna get released, right? That they just grabbed. Chloe
well,
and
um,
Caitlin.
unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Ariel.
so they released Kiara Linskins
Right. So that
first,
was just a clear
right?
roster spot. Yeah.
Yeah. So I believe technically LA replaces her on the
Okay.
12-player roster,
Okay.
right? So then, yeah, as you're saying, then it's the remaining players. So I think maybe one of them can say, and I think that's LA. I'm not sure. I'll have to take a look at that. But my
Okay.
understanding is, yeah, Ariel Powers, Chloe Bibby, Caitlin, they are here on hardship contracts, just like any
Yeah.
other team, right? So
Yeah.
as soon as those players come back, it's mandatory. They have to be released
Yeah.
unless we waive somebody else,
Injuries. Or yeah.
you know? And that's another uncomfortable thing to have
Yeah.
to
I don't
do,
like
but we'll see.
releases.
I mean, unfortunately, that's just the nature, all right, of the WNBA and the way these rosters are limited, right, with roster spots. But all I'm saying is I want all of them to play well. And it's uncomfortable, but it's a good position for the front office to be in, right? Really
Yeah.
force them to make a hard decision about whether or not they're going to retain you past your hardship deal.
Right.
Um, because like competition's good. So
It is. It is.
we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, like if Ileana really is coming, yeah, someone's going.
That's a whole nother look, man. Especially with Cecilia too and Janelle. Good lord.
Yeah.
Just imagine
Yeah.
one of those games where they all go off. You know what I mean?
Before we go, let me
Yeah.
ask you something right now.
Okay.
Let's say like last year. I mean, I know last year I was also again a weird year because of the Olympics.
Yeah.
But like I believe two teams were sub 500, right? No. One team that made the playoffs was sub 500, right?
Was it the Fever?
No. The Fever were like what, 500 or like a game over 500, and then
Or they might have
Phoenix,
been one
the
under.
Mercury were like a game or two under 500. My
Yeah.
point being though is right, like 500 typically gets you in, right? That's like a low
Yeah.
seed. If the Valkyries were say 500, so 22 and 22, or like
Mhm.
21 and 23 at the end of the season and made the
They're
8th seed,
oh, okay.
would you rather them do that or just not make the playoffs at all and actually be a lottery team in contention for the number one pick? Because if you make the playoffs, you're guaranteed not to be in contention for the number one pick. But we're talking
Right.
about like an 8th seed, like you scraped your way in, like, you know. Because I've been getting this question a lot on social media, and like, it's hard to answer. It's hard to. I mean, obviously, duh, we're not going to ask players to
It's
lose. I'm just saying, what would you have preferred then when you see that?
if I didn't have Maria Conde in the back of my head, I would just say tank it. But knowing that you do have her, you have Janelle Salon, you have who you have in tow right now,
You
you
stay
have
Yosite.
veterans. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like you have a lot on deck. Like you don't really necessarily need to tank. You know what I mean? You can just go compete and start to get a feel for the playoffs. And then a lot of these players are going to want to come back. Like this is a, rare experience for a lot of them, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Um, so, and then some of them probably love it because they get a chance to just be in a situation where they get more playing time, they get more responsibility and things of that nature. And it's not necessarily that it's going to change just going into the next season early on. You know what I mean? Like Maria will probably have to get going, get ramped up. Um, Carla will have to continue progressing in her game. Um, who knows how much better Janelle gets throughout the rest of this season. So, I mean, if they get the eighth seed, I'm trying to go to the playoffs because if that means Janelle and all of them get that experience now as rookies of an
Yeah.
expansion team, like I'm going for the playoffs. If it was the Juju Watkins draft, then I'm tanking. but it's not. So you know what I mean? Like I would tank hard as hell. I would be like, yeah, y'all all gotta go home. All rookies on the floor. That's when we would do that. But nah,
I mean,
I'm going for it.
Flauge,
Well, Flajay.
AZ Fudd, Tanaya Latson,
Oh,
Olivia Miles, Lauren
AZ,
Betts.
AZ. I mean, but I'm really high on Janelle. I'm very high on Janelle.
Yeah,
Like
see,
she's going to be a star. She is.
okay. No, it's tough. It's and but when the season ends, and if we're really in this predicament, like I don't know, maybe but actually, yeah, I don't know, my feelings might change. But actually, that's the answer. I've given like followers a similar answer. It's like, well, I said the same thing, right? Like
Yeah.
they're like Conrad, like you don't get a lottery pick, and you just go in an 8 seed, and you probably get blown out, like you get swept by the Liberty in the first round. And I thought to myself,
I
like,
mean,
yeah, that's probably true. However, like if I had to justify it, I'm like, okay, we have Yusuke Yosite
mhm,
making her debut next year.
mhm.
So it's basically like we have a lottery
You
pick.
already have it.
And we're
Exactly.
still going to get, if we're like, say, the 8th seed, that means we're getting the
The
8th pick.
yeah.
We're
Yeah.
getting the 8th pick, assuming the two expansion teams go 6 and 7, right?
Yeah.
So we get the 8th pick. Again, you know me, trust my judgment. Well, you don't have to, but I encourage you to, right? I've already begun scouting the 2026 draft class. There will be good players at pick number 8.
Yeah,
There
of
will.
course.
So you get Yosite, whoever we get at number 8. You bring back Janelle, right? You got Carla. You got VB. I'm probably missing some other people, right? Oh,
Maria.
yeah, right. Maria, Ileana,
Mhm.
right? Dude. And then again, going back to what we said at the top of the episode, now that you see what the Bay is all about, what Valhalla is all about, which team do you
Yeah.
want to go to now? Huh? I mean,
Exactly. Then I mean, it's like the draft will just be, oh, we're gonna get a good free agent. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm going for the experience. If we could get the experience now with this team, yeah, I'm going for the experience.
I mean, especially too, if Janelle and Carla get an opportunity. Well, let's be real, Janelle will, but I mean,
Yeah,
like Carla probably too. I'm just saying, right? If they have an opportunity to play substantial minutes, like playoff minutes,
yeah,
then you're absolutely right. I think that's an invaluable experience.
yeah,
So, but we'll see. I mean, obviously, we're only 11. Well, shoot, we're a quarter. We're officially a quarter of the way season, a quarter of the way
yeah,
through the season, I should say.
yeah. We
So
are. That's true.
we'll see. We'll
11
see.
games.
And we will reconvene soon. Our next game is back in Valhalla against the Indiana Fever, led by
Mm-hmm.
Caitlin Clark. And
Aaliyah Boston.
that's not who my
Uh
reactions were
oh.
going to. You know, it's
The
let's
choker.
call them Caitlin
The
Clark's
choker.
bodyguards. There you go. There you go. There you go. You know,
The head
I don't know.
locker.
What's that?
I said the head locker.
Ooh, I like that. That's a good nickname.
We could come
Because
up
it's
with
like a
some other stuff.
pun on Hit Locker, but it's Head Locker. I like that. Yeah, I'm gonna use that. All right.
I'm trying to come up with something on the fly. Let me not even do it because it's gonna sound lame. They're gonna be like, "You're corny."
Yeah.
But yeah.
So
But no, I'll save it for next episode because it's gonna be
yeah,
against those same. You know what I mean? So we'll see. But yeah, y'all, thanks for listening. Go Valkyries! Congrats to Kayla Thornton once again. Everybody in Eurobasket, please stay healthy, please, especially for the GSV team. Please stay healthy, please.
yeah.
Because especially Janelle, I want to see you back ASAP. Timmy, yeah. So make sure y'all like and subscribe, follow, drop your comments. You know what I mean. Valkyries fans, come on, talk to us. We talk to y'all. Make sure y'all follow us everywhere. Follow CP7_777. That's Conrado's Twitter. Follow opinionated_MJ. That's mine. You know, I'm here and there if I'm not working. Make sure you follow us at EMW_pod. Like and subscribe to this. And yeah, we'll see y'all the next one. Because I'm
Take
sure
care.
everybody and their mama gonna be there. We should go live.
I know.
Yeah,
Take care.
we might get the Caitlyn haters and Caitlyn lovers all in one big old party.
We're all
Yeah,
friends. There you
right.
go.
We just love ball. All right, y'all. Take it easy.